As he approaches Inauguration Day, President-elect Donald Trump has some decisions to make about his personal wealth and the company he's owned and controlled most of his adult life. Let's start with the basics. There are no laws that require the president to separate themselves from their business interests, but it's standard practice for presidents to remove themselves entirely from their business holdings before taking office. Presidents typically turn their assets over to what's called a blind trust run by an independent manager, so that none of the decisions they make in office can be seen as beneficial to their business. The point is, the president is supposed to work for the American people, not their own business interests. And while Trump said during one of January's primary debates that he wants to put his assets in a blind trust, it wasn't clear that he understood exactly what a blind trust is or why it's important.
You'll put your assets in a blind trust?
I would put it in a blind trust. Well, I don't know if it's a blind trust if Ivanka, Don, and Eric run it, but is that a blind trust? I don't know. But I would probably have my children run it with my executives, and I wouldn't ever be involved because I wouldn't care about anything but our country, anything.
Trump tweeted on November 29th that he will sign legal documentation officially separating himself from his companies. It seems, though, that his children will still run those businesses. He plans to hold a press conference on December 15th where he'll reveal more. In September, Trump's son, Don Jr., insisted that having his children run his companies was separation enough.
He said that a long time ago.
And George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton and Mitt Romney, the Republican candidate, all put their interest in a blind trust during the campaign. Your father has not done that.
All right, well, he will certainly do it if he becomes president.
But a blind trust, it's not a blind trust if it's being run by his children.
It is, because he'll have nothing to do with it, George. He said that. He wants nothing to do with it. He wants to fix this country. He wants to get the country on the right track again.
So there will be a wall between you
100%.
and your siblings and your father?
We won't talk to him about it.
But critics counter that plan doesn't go nearly far enough in separating Trump's personal interests from his role as president. For example, Trump owns hotels across the United States and will soon appoint officials who regulate the hotel industry. Appointing government officials who will make regulatory decisions about his business interests appears to be a clear conflict of interest. Similarly, Trump will engage in trade negotiations with foreign governments and at the same time has overseas business holdings that could be affected by those trade deals. That dynamic has already become a source of criticism. Trump met with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on November 17th, and a photo released by the Trump transition team showed Ivanka Trump, who will run his business empire while he's in office, present in the room. Critics say such overlap between Trump's business and political interests could give the Trump organization an unfair advantage in business deals. And the Trump family has already repeatedly come under fire for using his presidential campaign to benefit their business interests. Just last week, Ivanka Trump was criticized for an email ad campaign for one of her branded pieces of jewelry that was launched just after the incoming First Family's appearance on CBS's 60 Minutes on November 13th. Trump isn't legally required to separate himself from his business interests, but there's a reason every other president in recent history has.